Tonight, we are honored to share one of our stories with you. I am just thrilled to introduce our guest tonight. In July 2020, in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, Cheryl O'Shaughnessy lost her beloved husband, John. Cheryl was referred to us by O'Halloran and Murphy Funeral Home in St. Paul, and Maureen Revak was assigned as Cheryl's coach. Please meet Cheryl and Maureen. Welcome.
Thanks,
Thank
Leanne.
you.
Cheryl, would you share a little bit of your story with us?
Out of the blue, John did not die of COVID. John got pneumonia, and he went and he got antibiotics, and I thought everything would be fine. And the next thing I know, they called and said he went into septic shock and was ventilated, and I should get to the hospital. And in 2.5 weeks, he was gone. So, of course, during those 2 weeks, I was sure everything would be okay, and finally realized it wasn't going to be. So we said our goodbyes and planned the funeral. And O'Halloran and Murphy handed me a sheet with the phone number of Social Security and maybe something else on it. And I remember vividly, so much I don't remember then in the fog that Maureen explained to me, Griever's fog. And I thought, well, what do I do? I mean, that can't be it. I said, everybody tells me there's so much to do. What else do I need to do? And he said, I wouldn't know. And I said, well, you've got to find me someone to help me. You just have to help me. I don't know what I need to do. And he said, well, we don't know anyone. And I said, we have to find me someone. You just absolutely have to find someone to help me. So I don't remember if it was a few days later or called me and he said, I have found an organization called Wings for Widows, and they're going to assign someone to help you. And I said, okay. So Maureen reached out, and God bless you, during COVID, we agreed to meet outside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she showed up with this workbook and a file folder and another book full of widows' stories and widowers' stories. And she said, I'll help you figure out what you have to do.
And sometimes you learn, I know from experience, sometimes just putting something in the mail is hard to do.
It's huge.
And it's making sure those tasks get completed. And when I first met Cheryl that first time, she was overwhelmed. And she's a smart lady. So you're overwhelmed and you're trying to grieve at the same time. I think that's what's hard, is you have all these things to do and you really need to take the time to grieve. And so I handed her the workbook, and it was really more about, let's just tackle one little thing at a time. We're not going to solve it all in one meeting. And when you do coaching sessions with us, we just kind of keep going through the checklist. And that's, we've built a great friendship as a result of this advocacy. So
I met with the attorney, and I got this long letter telling me you need to do this, and we're going to need that, and you're going to have to this. And it was beyond overwhelming. And I had met with the attorney. I had taken notes from the attorney. And it all was, and Maureen calmly, gently said, I'm going to make a master task list out of that long letter, and we'll chunk it, and we'll just do the pieces she needs from you. And in each one, I'd say, well, I ran into things I'd never done. For an estate tax return, mm-hmm. She would just explain, this is, you'll gather any assets that were in his name, or whose name were they in, you'll make a list of, just explain. A lawyer will tell you what you have to get done. Wings for Widows tells you how to do it and explains it. And the comfort was, you don't feel dumb, you don't feel inadequate. She'd just say, either you've never done this and didn't know about it, or that's okay, you're grieving and you're in a fog. Here, I'll go through it again. And then if I said, I still don't get it, she'd say, that's okay. Let's do it a different way.
When we'd have a session, it was really, I think there was some comfort in knowing that, okay, today I don't know where this is. I have to do this, but I have a session with Wings for Widows with Maureen and a coach, next Tuesday. So there was just comfort, I think, for Cheryl saying, I'm not going to stress about this. I'm going to put it aside and I'm going to save up all my questions. And it was a real adventure every time we'd meet because I'd think, this is what we're going to do today. And it never went that way. It was, here's what's the priority for Cheryl. And that's what we would do. So it was based on her priorities, whatever it was that was nagging at her, keeping her up at night, we would sit down and tackle. And maybe we wouldn't get a whole lot done, but there was just comfort in someone's walking with me. And, this is what's important to me today. And that's what we would work on. So here's a question I think I probably know the answer to, but would you recommend Wings for Widows to others?
Where do I begin and why?
Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
For me, the reason why I'd recommend is someone to walk beside you, someone to tell you step by step when you're just so overloaded and overwhelmed. It's okay. Here's what you do. And when you finish that, I'll help you with the next thing. But the pieces of just physically showing up and you have your family, but your major emotional support system in life, your rock, your anchor is gone.
Yeah.
And you're drifting. You're just floating around in this sea of confusion and being an utterly responsible person. It's my MO. I went right into, I've got all these things to do. I got to get them done, make the list, whatever. And Maureen would say, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And I didn't cry very much for the first weeks. I had so much to do and was trying to take care of it. And I thought, I'm doing really well. Well, I wasn't doing well at all, but I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's why we team up a widow advocate with a financial coach, so that there is someone that's done this walk before to help out with that. And then we've got this just wealth of expertise at our fingertips of certified financial planners to help, with the financial stuff. And we found that the partnership of both things really, really is needed and really helps. But it's been a great relationship. It's done just as much for me as it has done for Cheryl being a volunteer with Wings for Widows. So,
Thank you.
And you made me feel better. A couple of times Maureen said, well, I haven't run into this. And thanks, I like to learn and this is new and I'm going to research this. And then I didn't feel badly giving you, we had some odd things to deal with that were in this estate. And
and we had I had expertise to go to, for help with that. And it's a great collaboration. And it's been a great partnership, and now we're lifelong friends.
Yeah, we are. She's my earth angel. But I think the one more thing I want to say is thank you for Wings for Widows, because really, I just had no idea where to turn or what to do. And what you realize is you spent years saying, honey, where is this? Honey, where did you get the marriage to? Honey, I need you to do this. Where is this? How do I do this? I don't understand this. And there's no one to ask. There's no one to turn to. Your whole support system is gone. So everybody thinks you're physically alone. Oh, you poor thing. Do you need food? Whatever. What can I do for you? And what they don't understand is you need someone to help you figure out what has to be done.
Thank you. This has just been marvelous. And it just reinforces what we all want for this organization, that we come alongside and just kind of carry your heart as long as you let us. And we want to be there for you as long as you need us. Thanks, Maureen. You're just amazing and excellent. So thank you so much for everything.